This video is going to cover replacing the wheel home sensor, which is right here. The unit's going to look something like this. In the package that we send you, you'll have some diagonal cutters that may or may not look like this, but be similar. You'll have the replacement sensor, and you'll have some sort of, that may or may not look like this, but some sort of Torx T10 wrench as well. So the first thing that we're going to do, and this is very important that you're very careful here, because these diagonal cutters can, if you clip one of these wires, then it's going to have to be sent back in, and there's nothing we're going to be able to do remotely. So it's very important that you make sure you get the both ends of the diagonal cutters even with one of the wires, and then very carefully and slowly clip. And I'm doing this one-handed, or I would have caught that. But just very carefully get it parallel to the wires, and then make sure that you're not, because you can not even realize it, just barely clip it, not even fully cut the wire in half, just clip it and it'll give you a continuity issue. So once that's clipped, you'll have 3 different wire bundles here: the motor, the punch, and then the home here. So at this point, what we can do is these sensors, there's a little clip right here that if you push, it pulls out right here on top. So we're going to disconnect that. You're going to take your wrench and be very careful keeping a hold of that screw. If you drop it, there's a hole down in the bottom of the unit here that goes into the motherboard, and if you get metal in the motherboard, you can fry it. So I'm going to take this Torx T10 and counterclockwise, we're going to remove the screw that's holding it. This is a little bit magnetized, so, and then the sensor will just lift straight up. So you're going to take the replacement, and you're just going to do the exact opposite. You're going to carefully slide it in there. Now this sensor, what it does is it looks for this, and I will turn this wheel. Let's see if I can find the, alright. So there's this gap, this space right here in the wheel, and that's what the sensor is looking for. That's the home position, so that it knows where to start when it starts turning the stepper motors. So this in this slot here, it slides over that. So just carefully insert it straight down with the screw hole to the right side. It's going to line up with that screw hole, and it's just going to slide straight down in until it lines up. It'll sit flush, and then you're going to take your screw, and don't drop it like I just did, but be careful not to drop it. Take the screw, put it in the hole, and then this is aluminum, so do not over torque this. Before you totally tighten it down, make sure that it's flush and it didn't get on the edge of this piece here. So it's totally flush, and then just lightly tighten it till you remove all slack. Do not torque this down tight. If you strip that, again, we'll be sending it back and we'll have a whole nother issue. So just until it's firm, careful pulling on this because you can pull it apart, but just give it a little bit of a, just make sure that there's no slack in it. And then you're going to take the sensor, out of the way. And it's just going to slide back in. You'll hear an audible click, and that is going to plug it back in. So just make sure that it's firmly put back in place. The other thing you're going to have in there, I didn't mention in the beginning, is we'll include a couple more zip ties. So you'll just put it back the way it was, and I'm one-handed, so I'm not going to do that. Zip ties are self-explanatory. and you can zip tie it back in the two positions where it was before. Just get it back together, and then that's it. And then turn it on and attempt to run a card.